We're in the Nissan Qashqai 1.6 petrol, and it's a 2012 year. So we have the issue where in the dash column, in here, there is a airbag warning light coming on. And we've done a time test by turning the ignition switch on and off over a period of time, and it temporarily got rid of it. After we went for a spin and came back and turned the engine off and then turned it back on, the light reappeared, the flashing light. Where we were, we'd done the time test on this to try and get shot of the flashing airbag symbol. But as predicted, it, after a journey, when we stopped the car and go to turn it back on, it reestablishes itself. So with that, then it's forced us to get a replacement part. So the it can be called a squib. It's a piece that sits underneath the steering wheel. There's two versions of this depending on your Qashqai. So obviously, whenever you're going to purchase this, you need to make sure you get the license plate, the registration number, verified that this is the right one, because this one, if it's correct, will be a single cable. There's other connectors that they're all standard, but there's a one cable on the piece. The other version, essentially there's two cables on it, so just make sure before ordering that it's the right cabling for yourself. The part itself, I think I paid £15-20 for it. Yeah, if you're getting it from the dealer, it's going to be dearer. This wasn't, but it was from the UK, UK supplier, so it should be good. To get to the point of replacing that, we have to take this cover off. We'll also be taking or separating the cowling cover there, and underneath this little part will drop down as well. There's 3 screws on here that have to be released. This indicator stalk will also come out as part of this, but again, fairly easy enough to get done. The first part of removing this is disconnect the battery. That's why I've not been able to show you the lights, because there's no power. So with the battery disconnected, you would go to these little holes. There's 2 of them, one on that side, and of course on the other side there it is again. What we're aiming for in there, and I have an endoscope which I've put in to indicate what you're looking for, but essentially use a flathead. You just keep it flat going in, and there's a metal bar that you want to put pressure on, and there's one of those either side, which then releases the center bit. So thankfully we've got that done already, and we get that off, and you can see behind it. All right, so you can see the connectors there then. These were the springs. They're that's where they go behind, so you're just releasing them from that to get them out, and that's the other one there. So basically just putting pressure that way on them to get them out. You don't have to go far in. You're maybe going about 2 inches on the screwdriver shaft to get them released. It's not very far, so you don't need a long screwdriver. Once we've disconnected then this cable and that cable, we'll then have this free, and in there is the actual airbag itself. We'll give it a check over, make sure it looks okay. From there it does. Obviously part numbers and everything else, and you'll be able to get a record of, just in case you need to order any in the future. And then we have to get this nut off to be able to pull off the steering wheel itself, and I believe it's a 19mm nut. That's a 17, and yeah, clearly won't go on there. So we'll need to get a 19mm nut, get that released, get the steering wheel itself off, and then we can get into where the offending article is. So we'll crack on with that. Yeah, just before we take off the 19mm nut to release the steering wheel, you'll see a V there. Now, it's an idea if you don't have a torque wrench, is just to score the nut directly underneath there, so that when you come to tighten it back, you'll know that when you have it tight enough and those line up, you've got the right level of torque on it. You can go to the other extreme as well of counting how many ridges are visible from that point. 1, 2, 3, and that'll help getting it back. Worthwhile also, again, as I've said, just take pictures of the different part codes and numbers that are on them, and on the airbag as well, because if you do need to replace it, rather than having to go through the trouble of taking all the parts off again, you'll have the information there already. So just save it in a file with whatever you're doing, wherever you keep your car maintenance information. Right, so onward, we get this nut off. Okay, so we've got the steering wheel off. With a bit of pressure just to on the opposite sides of the steering wheel, releases it from the spleen, and it comes off nice and easy. We need to get this stick out. So there's white tab there, there's one corresponding underneath. It's a simple squeeze of those and it just slides out nice and easy. And there's your plug matrix to go in to that on the way back. So we can put that to the side. And then we need to get this piece out. So this is what we hope is the offending article. And to release that, there will be a clip that you just would push down on the back of that to release it from this metal clip. And we will take that screw out from the bottom there as well. Oh, there we go, a bit more freedom. So we get the trusted Phillips wherever it's gone. Must have fallen on the floor, I'll get it unwound. So we've got the small Phillips that was there removed, and in this slot as well we've loosened that and that Phillips as well. With having to take this out, we've pressed on that, come through that bracket, and like the other stock, We just had to press the two corresponding white clips and release that, and then I should be in a position maybe to get this off a bit. And there we are, down to brass Texas. So we'll see the ignition switch on there. Now from this then, you can see in here, we need to, these two connectors freed, and this one here, so those two may come out one, and this one disconnected. And then we're hoping that should be this taken off. We may need to undo that screw, undo that Phillips screw, and the third one there, just to get that lifted off from it. And we would hope we'd be good to go then from there. That is our piece disconnected. Having undone those screws, we were left where the cables were connected in there. You need to get the screwdriver in just under that bit, pressure on it, and it pops out. Same with the grey. And the white was a bit easier. You could just do that by hand. So checking it over then, everything on here corresponds to the replacement part. We have this retaining bit, we need to take off that, put it on there, the old one, and then that frees that up to spin. Then we need to essentially do the reverse of what we've done. So we'll get the cables connected in, get all the screws back in together, get the stalks put back in, and close everything up. And I'll put the rest of this onto the endoscope camera. There won't be sound with it, but you should be able to see it all going back together. Right, having done the replacement, we've had to use the top-down scanner, and in that we've been able to connect it up and remove the ABS, the airbag warning. We've cleared it off there. We have had to gone into the ECU management on it and clear reports with that, which then, once we put the key in to turn, the ignition comes on, and the end result of this is thankfully a very clear dashboard. So the other one there is the handbrake, because we're not moving, of course. So hopefully all those bits together will help yourself to get through that problem. Hopefully the initial time trick will work for you. If it doesn't, well, then the full video will be useful. It's been an experience doing it, learning it, making sure that it didn't break anything other than what I was trying to fix. And hopefully a few more videos. There's another few bits to be done. There was one on the Audi. We'll try and get that. It's where the airbag actuators on the bonnet have blown, so it's going to be a replacement of that. And there may be another couple of bits on the Vauxhall Zafira again. So until next time, take it easy. And that's all from Fred's Shed.